Welcome students to the Learnsmart video. We're going to talk about a unique assignment type today. If I open up week 1, you'll see a couple of these assignments have the big LS next to them, and that stands for Learnsmart. Learnsmart is going to be chapter by chapter assignments, so you see chapter 1 and chapter 2, and they're going to directly correlate with the textbook that you're using for Connect. So Learnsmart is a safe learning environment that allows students to focus on the core material for each chapter. By assessing how the student is learning, Learnsmart can adapt so that the student is exposed to material that is most impactful to them at that moment. This ensures a high-impact learning experience. So let's open up Learnsmart, and we'll have to click on Preview, and then we click on Preview Learnsmart Study Module as a student. Okay, and when we're brought into the environment, I want to point out that the first time that you land here, you may see that it says SmartBook in the upper left-hand corner, and that's all right, because Learnsmart and SmartBook are essentially the same program, and they're going to ask your students the same questions. The difference is SmartBook has an integrated ebook experience that the student is going to go through. So we'll walk through that after we cover Learnsmart. Okay, so at the bottom you'll see that I've got all my chapters listed, and if I scroll over a chapter, it's going to tell me which dates those assignments will be due. If I leave it on chapter 1, it tells me that it's due today. Alright, so on the upper left-hand side, I see that I've got chapter 1, tells me the name of the chapter and when I'm expected to learn. On the right-hand side, you'll see that it says that the deadline is today, so it gives me the due date, and it tells me my progress. So this is a good stopping point to discuss one last feature about Learnsmart. The way that the score is computed for Learnsmart is it's all about the assignment progress. So it really doesn't deduct anything for students who come in and miss a couple of questions, and that's why I call it a safe learning environment. It's all about persistence. So if I were to complete no more of this assignment before the due date, I would get a 57 because that's how much progress I've made on the assignment. As long as I put the time in and the effort in to complete all of the items that I have remaining for this assignment before the due date, I will get 100% on this. Okay, so let's click on Learn and open up the module. And we're now in the actual Learnsmart assignment. So you'll see in the upper left-hand side that I've got my progress meter, and it tells me that I have 11 items left. One thing I want to note about those 11 items, if a student misses the question, don't think that just because it says 11 items left that it's going to be the same 11 items. Depending on how the student is progressing throughout this module, it can continually adapt, and it can decide to include more basic material or to include harder material if the student shows that they're ready for that. It's also going to make sure that the student answers core content questions in a number of different ways. So given those couple of factors, it really makes it tough for the students to trick the system, and the question types change on a regular basis. So they may not see the same question twice in a given session. Okay, so if we move over, the next piece that we've got, you'll see that it says standings for all here, and it has some student names as well as anonymous and point values. So this is a gaming function that we built in solely for students who are competitive or that want to make their assignments fun. So the first time that a student logs into Learnsmart, they'll be asked to create an alias. It can just be a nickname, or they can click on anonymous. And after they do so and they go into their assignments, they're going to be awarded points. And we'll talk about how those are factored in just a moment. The points don't have any outcome on the final assignment. That's all derived from completing the items left. But they can get points. They can compete against the entire country if they leave standings for all highlighted. If they click again, they can compete just against students in their section. And if they decide they don't want to have the gaming function enabled, they can just click disabled, and they won't appear on anyone else's grid. They won't see any of their classmates or anybody else that's competing currently. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on standings for all so that we can see some points trickle in. So the next piece that we're going to talk about is that we stop and make the students say if they know the answer or not before they answer the question. This is twofold. The first reason that we do this is because this is what dictates the points in the upper right-hand gaming function. I know it carries a weight of plus or minus 70. I think so is plus or minus 60. Unsure is plus or minus 50. And no idea is plus or minus 0. Now you'll note that not all of the scores end in 0, and that's because sometimes you'll have labeling or multiple right answer questions, and that's when the questions have slightly different point values. But as a general rule of thumbs, the values that I gave you are appropriate. The second reason that we have this confidence meter is because this meter, along with about 20 other items on the page, are used to dictate what the student sees next. So Learnsmart is always assessing what the student is doing, where their where their mouse is on the screen, how much time it's taking them to answer, and it uses all that information to appropriately gauge what the student should see next in order to have success. Okay? So I'll click I think so, and I'm going to go with this answer. I was wrong, so you'll see that the student gets instant feedback, and they click OK. They move to the next, and they can say I'm unsure, and it asks me to put in the answer. I'm going to guess micro. All right, and I'm correct. Now you'll note that the 11 items left goes to 10 items. Okay, so I'm one step closer to finishing my assignment. So just keep in mind these questions are all going to be focused on the most essential learning topics for the chapter. Okay, so that's Learnsmart. And now we'll click on the reports link at the bottom to get to the student reporting. When we're in here, you'll see that you have a couple of different reporting options in the field, 6 in all. You've got your topic scores, which allows you to see your score broken down by chapter and section. Current learning status, which shows how much you have left to learn and reminds you of which areas you should think about recharging soon. You've got most challenging learning objectives. This is going to tell you which areas of the chapter you've struggled with the most. It's probably a good idea as to where to focus your reading after you've done your Learnsmart assignments. Next up, you've got frequently missed questions. This will tell you which questions you missed the most and allows you to practice them so that you can commit them to long-term memory. Self-assessment is going to let you know how many times you were correct or incorrect when guessing whether or not you knew the answer to the question. And then the tree of knowledge is a visual representation of how you're progressing as you work through each of the chapter modules for Learnsmart. Also note that in the bottom right, you've got the option for a practice quiz, which will quiz you on the core content as well as the areas you showed low confidence or that you missed the most. All right, so this is Learnsmart, and hope that you use it effectively in your studies at Anthem, and I wish you great luck in your classes that you're taking at Anthem.